wages are up, jobs have been created, millions of jobs created, unemployment is low. We're trying to continue to lower costs, lowering prescription drugs. I mean, it goes...
Mention the border. How about we mention that? Talk about that a little bit.
On and on.
He even tried to fix the border. And then the Republicans...
Oh, hey, I don't pre-watch these, by the way.
Rejected it for dear leader.
Yeah, well, yes, they did. There was a bipartisan
Let her say
legislation in the Senate that
might have forgotten.
Look, this is another thing, right? This is a president who was able to work across the aisle and get things done, right? You think about the infrastructure legislation, the Chips and Science Act, the Veterans
gun
Act, gun legislation. We hadn't seen that in decades.
Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, and the rest of the View are still coping when it comes to this next election. They're still spreading massive amounts of misinformation and still just going on absolutely insane rants. I don't know if these people are just really good actors and at acting like they're stupid, or if they're genuinely just this brainwashed. But they had the White House press secretary Karine Jean-Pierre on their show, and you can probably imagine how this thing went. An absolute train wreck. And every time I watch The View now, I swear that I'm never going to do it again. I'm never going to make another video on them again, because it just makes me so angry. Like, all these other people who I watch, you know, the Bill Maher's and people like that, none of them really make me angry, because it's kind of just like funny how stupid they are. These people are so stupid that it's past that point. Like, you know how if you fly enough far enough east, you end up going west, right? It's kind of like one of those situations where it's like some people who are like conservative and stupid, they kind of make me mad because they're conservative and stupid, they're right-wing and stupid. And then there's people like Bill Maher that are just so far left, that they're just so far outside of reality that I just don't even care enough to be mad. It's just kind of funny how stupid they are. And then you keep flying west or east, whatever I said, and you get to Whoopi Goldberg and The View that are just so stupid that I'm once again just angry. But this time it's like times 10 on the anger scale. Like, they're so stupid that I have to be angry. I can't stand that. I can't ask them questions directly to make them look as stupid as they actually are. Anyway, let's get into this video here from The View of Whoopi Goldberg talking to Karine Jean-Pierre. Once again, I'm sure you can probably guess how this whole conversation went. Let's check it out.
White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre has always been a fierce and vocal ally of President Biden. And right now, for the first time on TV, she is giving her view on his decision to bow out of the race. Please welcome back the fabulous Karine Jean-Pierre. In the midst of this insanity of a news cycle where people go, he's got to go, he's too old, he's too much. Where was your head when you are hearing people go at him like this as he's recovering from COVID at the same time?
So, look, you know...
Recovering from COVID. Dude, you like how they throw that in there? As he's recovering from COVID, as if it's some like terminal illness or something. Like, guys, it's the flu. I'm sorry, it's not the flu. I don't want to say that. It's just they make it out to be like it's this horrible thing. But also, yeah, you see how Whoopi Goldberg just like underplays how bad the Biden presidency is / was whenever she's like in the midst of this news cycle that was very evil and saying that he's too old, and she's making these hands about how she's like over exaggerating how bad it was, or as if the news stations and news outlets were over exaggerating how bad Joe Biden's presidency was. She's also the same person that was trying to justify Joe Biden running again by saying it's okay that he pooped on stage in front of a nationally televised audience. We all have poopy days. I have poopy days too. Quote from Whoopi Goldberg that I'll never let her live that down. That will never go away from me. I'm always going to bring that back up, you know? And it just shows you how brainwashed these people are, or how paid off these people are. One of the two.
This has been an interesting couple of weeks, to say the least. But what has always been the case is it's always been a privilege and an honor for me to represent this president of the United States and be the White House press secretary for this president.
Right.
And at the end of the day, when you think about what he has done the last 4 years, when you think about who he has been as a human, as a person, by the time we're done, by the time we run through the finish line, at the end of January, he would have done more than most presidents have done in 8 years. He would have done more in 4 years.
Yeah.
And what we saw from this president-elect.
If you're fed up with all the woke nonsense happening in the world like I am, go check out bringtheasteroid.shop, where we just released some new designs that look great and also allow you to express to everyone that you are just tired of the direction that America is going in right now, and that you're just like me and many others that watch this channel and watch Bring the Asteroid as well, and you just want it to go back to how it used to be. Check out bringtheasteroid.shop. We are limited on supplies for this drop, so if you want one, I would suggest that you go ahead and act soon. Let's get back to the video.
Last couple days was a human decency, a good man, someone who decided not to put himself first, like we've seen before, but to put the American people first and this country first. Yeah. And we cannot forget. We cannot forget what happened when this president and the vice president walked into this administration. There was a once-in-a-century pandemic. Yeah. He turned that around. He recharged the economy. If you think about it, this economy is leading the world. I mean, this is something.
Yeah, because it's America, dumbass. Oh my God, look at this freeze frame I got. Her eyes are going in 2 different directions. Of course, it's the economy is leading the world. It's the United States of America. It's always going to lead the world. If the American economy crashes, then I'm sure a lot of other countries will follow right after. It's, man, do I really have to go through all the arguments? Like, do we really have to go through it? Or you guys already know? Like, we're at this point, we're trained robots to argue these exact talking points and to explain why these exact talking points that the Biden regime, that Whoopi Goldberg and The View, that Bill Maher, and all these people have been using over and over and over again, the same bots that haven't gotten a software update, we're now like trained assassins at just, you know, destroying these talking points because they're so stupid. Oh, he recovered the country from a once in a century pandemic. Like, are you serious? Like, we're still doing that. We're still saying that. Come on, man. It's so ridiculous.
Wages are up, jobs have been created, millions of jobs created, unemployment is low. We're trying to continue to lower costs, lowering prescription drugs. I mean, it goes
mention the border. How about we mention that? Talk about that a little bit.
On and on.
He even tried to fix the border. And then the Republicans
Oh, hey, I don't pre-watch these, by the way.
rejected it for dear leader.
Yeah, well, yes, they did. There was a bipartisan
Let her say it.
legislation in the Senate that
Might have forgotten.
Look, this is another thing, right? This is a president who was able to work across the aisle and get things done.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You think about the infrastructure legislation, the Chips and Science Act, the Veterans
Gun
Act,
legislation.
gun legislation. We hadn't seen that in decades, and this president.
What about the abortion laws? Now, I'm not somebody who supports any more reform. I think it's good as it is. I think every law should be left up to the states. Personally, that's just my stance. I don't think at a federal level, unless states, there should be like guardrails set, but within those guardrails, I think each state should be able to kind of choose their own laws, and then people should be able to have the freedom to choose which state they want to be in. But Biden keeps, well, not anymore. He's not in the race anymore, but during the debate with Trump and everything, he always kept saying, like, if I get reelected, I'm going to, give abortion, legalize abortion across the board in all the states and not leave it up to the states anymore. It's like, my guy, you're president right now. Like, why haven't you done that? He's made that promise so much. He's made the promise about the border so many times, and neither one of those things have improved at all in terms of the voters' eyes, the Democrat voters' eyes, the ones that they lie to over and over and over again.
President got it done. So to your question, Whoopi, I think about that. I think about why we are doing this job. We are public servants. We are.
Yeah.
And this president was a public servant for 54 years.
Yeah.
54 years. We're not done yet.
Yeah.
We're not done yet. Obviously, he stepped down from running and being the nominee, but he's very much still the president.
He still got the job.
He still has the job, and we have a lot more to get done on behalf of the American people, and he wants to zero in and focus on that. He's going to be coming back to the White House today. He's going to be giving an address tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Please watch. He wants to talk directly to all of you, to the American people, to talk about what's next. And so I know he's looking forward to doing that, so please tune in tomorrow.
Well, in the past few weeks, President Biden had been adamant he was staying in the race, but after a lot of the noise we've been hearing, public and private, from Democrats for him to withdraw, he announced on Sunday he was going to not seek re-election. What ultimately led to that massive decision?
So, and I would also say, folks who have not seen the letter that he penned on Sunday and shared and released, you should. I think the letter, if you
She's going to try to dodge the question. The question was, what led to Joe Biden dropping out of the race. And of course, as her entire job is to dodge questions that are asked about Joe Biden. Every single, like, that's Karine Jean-Pierre's entire job, is to dodge questions about Joe Biden's health and well-being and brain capacity. Like, that's her entire job. And as she's asked, what led to Joe Biden dropping out of the race? What do you think led to Joe Biden dropping out of the race? Could it have something to do with his brain being turned into mashed potatoes? Could it have something to do with all of his support going out the window? Could it have something to do with maybe being threatened by people who are really running the world and who want somebody who can at least have the brain capacity to carry out the orders that is given from the puppet masters? Or maybe it's the people who are supporting his presidential campaign financially, pulling out their finances. It's one of those, if not all of them. And guess what? I haven't pre-watched this. I guarantee you she's not going to give any of those reasons. She's going to dodge the question and dance around it like her whole job is doing.
You read it thoroughly, there's no spin to it. There's no spin.
No.
He truly believed it was the right thing to do in this moment. He truly believed that it was the right thing to do for this country, a little emotional, the right thing to do for this country, the American people, is to give it to someone who is incredibly qualified, right? He said himself, the reason why he picked Vice President Kamala Harris is because he believed that she would be ready to lead from day one.
Yeah.
And so he believed she was the right person to take over the campaign, and she is. And while all of us, it was hard for many of us, we are incredibly proud of this president. We trust his leadership. We trust his judgment. And
Who is we? I don't know if anybody trusts, like, you're saying that, but the reason why he had to drop out of the next race is not just because the Republicans and right wing don't like Joe Biden and don't trust him and his leadership and his ability to even work a cash register at McDonald's. Not only that, but the left wing doesn't trust him to do anything because he didn't do anything that he promised to the left wing. The only people who actually like Joe Biden are the people who, in my opinion, are very obviously either paid off or brainwashed beyond belief, like Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, and The View, like people who are obviously paid, like Karine Jean-Pierre, that's her actual job, and people like Bill Maher, who even he had to admit towards the end that Joe Biden is not fit to be president. So who trusts his leadership? Who are these people?
we're just going to continue to be behind him as he continues to lead this country.
You know, people love Joe Biden. I mean, there was a great
Who loves Joe Biden?
expression by his party, people talking on television all weekend about how much they love him. You know, because he is a lovable guy.
Yeah.
And he's got a good heart, you know, and all of that. There was a pylon to get him to step down by the Democrats, a lot of Democrats, and movie stars, George Clooney, for example.
I was tracking.
What?
I was tracking. I'm just I was trying to make a joke. I guess I'm not good at it.
I'm sorry.
It was good. She's focused. I got you.
I'm focused on that question. I'm sorry. But does Joe feel betrayed by any of that, or does he understand that it was for the country also?
I mean, look, he's going to speak tomorrow. We'll hear from him directly, and I think he'll address whatever is on his heart. Like you said, he has a big heart.
Yeah.
He understands where people are. He understands having done this 36 years as a senator, 8 years as vice president, and now almost 4 years as president. He gets it. He gets where we are as a country. Let's not forget, there's a lot at stake. There's a lot at stake, guys.
You're not kidding.
Our democracy is at stake. A woman's right to choose.
Has this lady ever answered a question? Serious question. Has she ever been asked a question straight up at a press conference or on The View or anything like that and just answered the damn question? She's actually very good at her job, because her whole job is to just take every single question and somehow make people forget about the question that was originally asked and just go back to hyping up Joe Biden and the Biden regime. And she does it pretty well. You know, a lot of us have picked up on this stuff now, but the people who support Biden, who are most of the viewers, the people who support Biden, they probably eat this stuff up. You know, they probably eat this stuff up. The people who support Kamala Harris, they probably love it, because every question that's asked that may be a little bit skewed towards being critical about Joe Biden, it's always spun in this way that the original question is not even tried, attempted to be answered. And then it's spun in this way that's just hyping up Joe Biden. You're right. He has such a big heart. He was such a good human. Yeah, he was a trash president, though. So who cares? Who cares if he's a good human? I don't think we should be electing good humans or or anything like that. We should be electing people who are the best for the country. And most of the time that will end up being a good human, but that's not what makes somebody a good president. There's a lot of good humans out there that are homeless that didn't even know how to get a job. You know, they're crackheads, but they shouldn't be president because they're good humans. You know what I'm saying? They might love puppies, but they're not a good president. You know, I don't know what that has to do with anything.
And to make decisions on their own bodies at stake, you know, and let me
people's incomes
are at stake.
Voting
There's
rights.
so much voting rights is at stake, and he gets that. I mean, let's not forget why he ran in the first place. In 2020, he decided to jump in. He didn't have to.
Yeah.
He decided to jump in because he wanted to really save the soul of this nation.
Yeah.
Soul of this nation.
Wow, he's such a brave soul. Shout out to Joe Biden for just saving the country. He did such a great job at saving the country. Let me know in the comments what you're thinking about Karine Jean-Pierre's appearance on The View. What do you think about Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar and the rest of them had to say to Karine Jean-Pierre about Joe Biden and about Kamala Harris going into the future? It's just a big old cope fest, in my opinion. Let me know in the comments what you're thinking about this whole The View and Karine Jean-Pierre situation.